My name is Ryan Johnson. I'm with RMJ Tactical. Been making knives for over 30 years, and we make knives and tomahawks for U.S. military, law enforcement, and also for the civilian market. I got some new stuff to show off. I've got, we do the Combat series, Combat Africa, Combat Asia. This is Jungle Combat. And so right off the bat, you see I have kind of an homage to the 1960s, early 70s Randall sheaths. I'm a big fan of the old Randall knives. I think they're so important to history. I love the old sheaths. And so you see like the old Randall 14 sheaths. This is based off of that, but with a lot of new changes. So for one, we use a split belt loop with pull dot snaps. What that allows us to do, the split belt loop can work as a belt loop or as molly. So this is Molly Pals compatible. This back, instead of being all solid like the old sheaths, is put on with screws and screw posts, stainless steel black oxide screw posts, which allows us to take this off completely and use biothane straps, or I can take this and rotate it around and run the knife upside down. And so it's an old school sheath with a lot of new warfighter kind of application. So the Jungle Combat's actually based off of a Vietnam blade. It's based off of a knife that was custom made for 5th Group SOG in a small quantity. You can find it in the Homer Brett military knives and bayonets. And so it's kind of a saucy combat knife as far as it's got a lot of curves to it. This is made out of Nitro V, which is a new steel from Udahome. It's basically AEBL with nitrogen and vanadium in it. I love it. It's got great edge holding. It's got great edge resistance to chipping as far as chopping. It's a great chopping steel, good everyday carry steel, very corrosion resistant. We also have a new one. This is the Utsadihi. The Utsadihi is a small EDC knife. It's meant as a small self-defense knife, also as a small just utility knife. Utsadihi is a Cherokee word that means man killer, and it was a name that you can earn in combat. If you had killed somebody in combat, you could assume that name. So the Utsadihi is also Nitro V. It's very thin, lightweight, low profile. You can cord wrap the handles. We'll have G10 that you can add, G10 scales that you can buy to add to it. We'll have Kydex and leather as an option. The Kydex can run an Ulta clip. You can run a regular pocket clip. You can run the inside the waistband. The idea is to make it as versatile as possible for your carry. Another new one for us right now is the Origin. It's designed by Olivia at RMJ Tactical. She wanted something that she could put in a purse as a neck knife, but really more of a purse knife. Something that was very small, lightweight, something that was useful, but also could be used as a get-off-me knife. So the Origin has a bottle opener incorporated into the handle. It is basically like a two-finger knife, and it comes with Kydex scabbard. So this is the Frank Frazetta death dealer. The Frazetta estate got in touch with us and asked if we would be interested in doing a modern version of the classic death dealer axe. Richard Carmack, who's the president of RMJ Tactical, he was a huge Frank Frazetta fan and was excited. I was the kid in 3rd grade that got in trouble for bringing Frank Frazetta art workbook to school. There was a little too much boobage in that for my 3rd grade Christian school. So we were both big Frank Frazetta fans, and this is the kind of a modern reworking of that design. So obviously it doesn't have as long a handle as the original in the drawings or a solid wood handle. It is a full tang modern style axe, but with all the spirit of the Frank Frazetta death dealer. This has machined G10 scales with copper eyelets, and this is 4140 tool steel that's been CNC machined. And it's a beast. This is one of our forged axes. Reed Carmack forges these. This is one of his axes called the Raven, and it's got a lot of interesting little details. The Raven has Celtic knotwork forged into the handle. He's got it offset from the handle a little bit from the head to demarcate the difference. It's a small hand bearded axe meant for just knocking around in the woods. These are all hand forged and hand finished by Reed, and they are each one of a kind. This is the Shrike. The Shrike is our workhorse. It's the Tomahawk that I designed to replace the Eagle Talon. We took all the input from guys in Iraq and Afghanistan. We took the Eagle Talon feedback and incorporated that into the Shrike. So the first thing you'll notice, the Shrike is much shorter than Eagle Talon. This is 15.5 inches. It's got an overmolded handle over the steel core. What that gives us is it gives us shock resistance as far as chopping. It actually takes some of the shock from chopping, but also takes some of the shock from electrical shock. So it's electrically insulated. We've had this independently lab tested up to 3,000 volts for 30 minutes, full submersion, without any carry through. What that means is if you're breaching and you go through wire, you can cut through wire without it shocking you. And we've had guys over in other countries, before they hit a building, they'll actually cut power to the building using a Shrike and cut the power literally. So the Shrike has an overmolded high durometer rubber handle. It's got an end cap that unscrews. And inside there is a small sharpening file, a fine file that you can touch your edges up with. The Shrike is billet machined out of 4140. It's differentially heat treated. It's got forward edge and spike are 55 Rockwell. The core of it is 30 Rockwell, which gives us a tough, springy body with hard cutting edges. Shrike is based off of an 18th century French and Indian war style tomahawk. So you see a lot of tomahawks like this that have narrow, skinny handles, and long. They have a forward cutting edge and a spike. Spike was meant as a hole puncher back then, and forward edge was used as much as anything for actual cutting. For us, the Shrike is mostly used as a breaching tool. So you think of it as a lightweight, small, real estate breaching tool that's easy to carry. The spike can be used to punch holes in things. It can also be used to break locks. You can break a standard master lock with this in about 3 to 4 seconds. You can also break chain with it. Forward edge can be used to chop through glass. It'll cut through safety glass. You can go through glass with chicken wire. The beard is meant as a way to cut your way out of things. Once you cut your way into something, the beard will help you cut your way back out. Also, from a close quarter combat perspective, whatever I hit with the tomahawk, I can pull and cut with the beard. So if I'm trying to defend myself, if I grab and hook somebody's arm, I can also be cutting it while I'm manipulating them. So this is our Raider Dagger. This is our take on the classic Marine Raider Dagger from World War II. We had some guys from MARSOC come and say, can you reinvent the Marine Raider Dagger for modern combat? So we made these, and we still make those for individuals at MARSOC. This is ADCR V2, or I'm sorry, it's we've made them out of ADCR V2. This is CPM 3V. This is CNC machine. It's got black G10 handles. Handles are put on with stainless steel eyelets. You can see that the handle is shadow boxed around the jimping for grip. It's got a nice flat pommel for grabbing onto to stab. It comes with its own carry system. Here, this one's set up with biothane straps. These straps are on molly centers. We use pull dots. You can molly it up. The spacing also works with several other adapters. The Bewitterman pup. It works with an Ulta clip. But our Kydex is set up so that it has a nice snap. Note that with almost all of our Kydex, I can get my full hand on that knife and pull it out, so I don't have to readjust my hand. One of the ideas that we try to incorporate in all of our scabbards. We try to be as pragmatic as possible with our designs, so we want things to be useful first and foremost. They cut, so we need it to be comfortable, we need it to be easy to carry. So with all of our tomahawks and knives, there's a lot of focus on carry systems. The idea of being able to carry it with belt, carry it with molly, position it how you want to position it. So carryability is first and foremost, being able to cut. My design philosophy, I tend to do a lot of drawing, a lot of designing. It's just what I do. I'll have 200 designs. Out of those 200, there's about 18 that are actually worth following. And out of those 18, we will iterate that design. That is, make small changes, try it again, make small changes, change it again. We'll keep doing those small iterations till we get it where we want it. For us, testing is the fun part. Everybody at the shop carries stuff. So Jonathan, Charles, Richard, I all carry knives. We all carry tomahawks. We'll have tomahawks in the car. When we're developing something, we typically junkyard test. We've got to end with our local junkyard as far as they'll save cars back for us. And cutting up cars is a good test for anything, as far as the edge. So we'll cut safety glass, we'll rake and break windows, we'll cut doors off and things like that. And so that's kind of how we test stuff out as far as tomahawks go. With knives, it's just carrying them and using them. The Utsadihi, as soon as we had one finished, I had one. I've been carrying one for 2 weeks. And so it's cut everything from boxes to wired, to zip ties to really jamming it into stuff and trying how it stabs. So we carry it for a while before we try to release anything. I was one of those kids that dressed up like a ninja and ran through the woods with a machete strapped on his back. And so I've always been interested in weapons. I grew up in a household, my parents met through amateur archaeology, so I grew up in a household where there was a lot of history books, a lot of books on weapons and things like that. And so I had a very deep interest in weapons as a child. When I was 12, I started blacksmithing, and I was blacksmithing in order to make tomahawks. So I started making knives and tomahawks on a pretty regular basis from age 12 up. In college, I got a mechanical engineering degree. I have a degree in mechanical engineering, thermal science, and mechanics. And so that comes in handy as far as the nuts and bolts side of things and design. But really, the most important thing for me, background-wise, is just being able to rub elbows with the people that actually use it and get feedback from them and talk to them.